We've already looked at several ways to visually represent our data. In this video, we're going to take a look at another one called the polygon graph. A polygon graph is a line graph of midpoints that we draw across the x-axis and frequencies, which we draw across the y-axis, with an extra point at y equals 0 on either side. And those extra points just bring the polygon down to the x-axis on each side of the graph. So for example, we talked about the hours spent on homework in a previous video. And when we did that, we found there were several midpoints on our graph. The midpoints we found were 3.5, 7.5, 11.5, and 15.5. And the frequencies we found were 4, 9, 8, and 1. We're going to graph these midpoints and frequencies onto our polygon graph. But we need to have an extra point at y equals 0 on either side. If you remember, the gap between midpoints, or the width of each class for this example, was 4, which means we're going to add an extra point at the end and at the beginning of this data values. So we're going back 4 units from 3.5. That's going to be negative 0.5. And there we're going to have a frequency of 0. We're also going to go forward 4 points from 15.5. And that's going to take us to 19.5. And that's going to have a frequency of 0 as well. Those are those 2 extra points, one on each side, the class width away from the bottom and the top, with a frequency of 0. Now we're ready to make our graph. We're going to start the graph at negative 0.5, and then 3.5, 7.5, 11.5, 15.5, and 19.5 are those midpoints. Up the x-axis are going to be our frequencies: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we're going to put a dot at each key point. So at negative 0.5, the frequency is 0. At 3.5, the frequency was 4. At 7.5, the frequency was 9. At 11.5, the frequency was 8. At 15.5, the frequency was 1. And at 19.5, the frequency is 0. Connecting these dots gives us our frequency polygon. Of course, every good graph has a title and labels. The title is not going to be polygon because polygon is the type of graph. What we're graphing is the time students spend on homework. The x-axis is going to be the time midpoints in hours. And the y-axis is the frequencies. And that gives us our polygon graph. The midpoints graphed with their frequencies, along with an extra point on either side with a height of 0 to finish out our polygon.